This is the Brewers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Milwaukee Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Frustrating, annoying, infuriating. Three words that come to the top of my mind as the Milwaukee Brewers fall to the Rays in Tampa Bay in game one of their 3 games series. This one by a final score of 4-3. The Brewers now 19-20, 1 game under 500. Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Locked On Brewers postcast show here on the Locked On Brewers YouTube channel. Thanks to each and every one of you for always making Locked On Brewers your first and last listen each and every day. Chuck Freeman on your daily podcast. I got your postcast as we are going to talk about the Brewers 4-3 loss tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays. As always, thanks for watching here. If you're live on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Lots of reaction pouring in as the Brewers lose a tough one on the road. And it felt like it was in a positive direction to begin this one for the Brewers. In the first inning, William Contreras with the RBI single that brought home Churio, I believe it was. They jump out to that 1-0 lead. The Rays respond, third inning, tie it up. Brewers take a 1-run lead the following inning in the 4th inning. And things just felt like it kind of felt like it was the Brewers game to win today, right? A lot of people contributing, a lot of, ups and downs in this game for Tampa Bay and of course for the Milwaukee Brewers as they end up losing. But it felt like a game where the Brewers were in control for a majority of it. Jose Quintana on the mound, who's been their best pitcher, didn't have his best stuff tonight. And again, the Brewers, just a frustrating way to lose to Tampa Bay 4-3. And two different times this Brewers team took the lead in this game. We talked about it in the first inning. We talked about it in the 4th inning. The Rays would tie it up. And then in the 7th inning, they would also have an interesting play at third base. And we're going to get right into that as the 7th inning is tonight's turning point. We're getting to it early, but it's the 7th inning, the turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
And we mentioned the 7th inning. The Brewers up 2-1 in that moment. And Caleb Durbin has a play at third base. William Contreras made the play. There was guys on first and third. William Contreras makes the play to gun out the guy that was trying to attempt to steal second base. Bryce Terrain grabs it, throws the third because the runner on third was attempting to go home, or he was leading too far off from third base, whichever one it was. The obstruction call on Caleb Durbin was called, which allowed the Rays to take the lead. And I'm going to grab the player's name for here shortly. And it was a play again. It became a big point in this game because not only did the Rays take the 3-2 lead, the game was tied at 2-2. I think I said the Brewers were up 2-1. The game was tied at 2-2. And Tampa Bay eventually took the lead. The Brewers eventually went on to tie that. But I have a feeling if the Brewers are able to withstand that inning without scoring, without allowing any runs to cross the plate, I feel like this would have been a game that the Brewers bullpen would have stood up and answered the call as they have. And Nick Mears was on the mound for that. We haven't seen him surrender a run in multiple games. Not technically his run that he surrendered, but nonetheless, it was a run surrendered on his watch. And it was a frustrating point in this game because Pat Murphy had come out and he had argued that the Brewers have been involved in these. If you remember going back about 2 weeks ago in San Francisco, it looked like William Contreras was attempting to go from first to third on a fly ball base hit to right field. And it looked like the third baseman for San Francisco was obstructing the base at that moment. It wasn't called. Contreras was ruled out. By rule, the definition is egregious. It's got to be egregious. It's got to be something that either, the defender's tripping the base runner or, his body is sitting in front of the base. Now, it's a judgment call, and the third base umpire made the judgment call. And again, it's one of those where it's a 50-50 play, right? Like it's a bang play. You could make the argument that's where the throw was taking him. And I just don't know if that's a play that in that moment in a game that I'd be making the call on, right? Like I just don't, again, I don't want to pinpoint this game or this loss on the umpires because we have lots of things to get to with this Milwaukee Brewers team, and we'll get to all of it. Trust me. But Pat Murphy was livid, and he let them hear it after that. I mean, that was a play again where I don't know if anybody really knows what that rule is. I'm not sure anybody truly knows exactly what that rule is. It's very gray in the rule book. And Adam McCalvey, the Brewers beat writer for Brewers.com, also tweeted out verbatim what the rule book is. And if you read it, you're still not sure exactly, outside of it being egregious, what that is. So that's the turning point of the game. An obstruction call on third baseman Caleb Durbin, and the Rays would take the 3-2 lead. The Brewers would eventually go on to tie it thanks to Rhys Hoskins, but eventually Jared Koening would falter in that 8th inning. He would walk the bases loaded, walk in the go-ahead run, and that would be it for the Milwaukee Brewers on the 4-3 loss to the Tampa Bay Rays. A very frustrating loss. I mean, the offense is in a bit of a rut. It's a lack of consistency at every aspect of this game. William Contreras dropping a pop out that would have ended the inning earlier. You got to give him a little bit of a break with dealing with a broken finger. I understand that. It's very, very frustrating to lose in the way that this team has lost, because we haven't seen this last year. Like, this wasn't the team that we saw last year lose, and they're losing in ways that we just haven't really grown accustomed to until this season. So lots of reaction being poured in on the YouTube channel. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Christian starts us off saying the offense continues to be frustrating. I go back to the White Sox series in that game 3. And after the Brewers had won game 2, I said, the game 3 for me is going to be a big game, because if they're able to sweep a team that, let's be honest, is trying to lose in the White Sox, that would be a good indicator going into that Cubs series for the Brewers. They ended up losing the game 8-0, game 3 against Chicago White Sox. You go back to that game for this Milwaukee Brewers team. They have played the White Sox, the Cubs, whose pitching isn't great. Their offense is fantastic. The Astros, and now the Tampa Bay Rays, with an off day scattered in the middle of that. This Brewers team has averaged 2.3 runs per game. 2.3 runs per game over their last handful of games, almost a week. Actually, exactly a week. It's not going to get it done. So, Christian, you're exactly right. This offense continues to be frustrating. Nick, over on YouTube, one of these days you wish we had a big bat or two to drive in some of these base runners, and that kind of plays off of what Christian said. You're absolutely right. It's very frustrating. The situational baseball with this Milwaukee Brewers team is frustrating on so many levels, and there's a lot of things that we're going to discuss going into the second part of the postcast show that I'm going to get into about this team. And I'm going to be a little tough on them tonight. I know I'm kind of swaying back and forth with every win and every loss, but the losses have become really, really frustrating, because again, they're just losing in ways that they didn't lose last year. You know, their pitching, your starting pitching has been up and down. Their bullpen has been up and down. They're getting tossed out on the base pass. We didn't see that last year. Their defense is faltering here and there. So it's become very frustrating. Drum over on YouTube, part of the Everydayer for the Locked On Brewers postcast. Adama's departure has killed this Brewers clubhouse. Now, I don't know, right? Like, I can't tell you. I don't think anybody would have that answer, because when those doors are closed, we don't know what that clubhouse is like, but you could make the argument. Taylor over on YouTube as well. I'm happy Murph showed some heart. This team has absolutely none. And that's a great point. And that's a point that we can maybe come back to. Thanks, Taylor, for that comment, because I appreciate it, because you're absolutely right. It feels like when this team, and it felt good tonight because they jumped out to the 1-0 lead, and you thought that might stick. It obviously didn't, as the Brewers lose 4-3. But when this team gets down, they stay down. And we didn't see that last year. And that's been the issue. For this team. And that's what's frustrating, right? Because Tampa Bay is not a good team. Tampa Bay has lost 7 of their last 9 games, ladies and gentlemen. 7 of their last 9, including a 3-game sweep prior to tonight against the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, this team isn't playing good, right? Like, they're not a good baseball team. They're 17-21 after the win, but neither are the Brewers, 19-20. I mean, if you're talking about playoffs and divisions and getting to the wild card, like, you got to eventually string together more than 2 or 3 wins in a row and beat teams that you should be beating, because their schedule is going to get tougher for the Milwaukee Brewers. Lots of reactions still being poured in over on the YouTube channel. We'll get to all of that. I got to tell you guys about a new partner here at Locked On, and we're going to get to them in just a second. And then we're going to talk about player of the game. I'm curious to see what your thoughts of our player of the game, because it's an interesting one tonight. Tonight, you might not like mine. Just going to put it out there. It's not a Brewer, it's not a Tampa Bay Ray. So chew on that for a minute as we break in who are the wonderful sponsors of the Locked On Brewers podcast. And we would be nowhere on this program without our sponsors. And we begin with a new one, Trade Coffee. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot go a day without my coffee. And let's be real, it's not just a drink, it's a ritual, a lifeline. The thing that gets you from half asleep to fully functioning. Or if you're like me, tomorrow morning, going to get you through a Brewers loss at the 4-3 in Tampa Bay, and it's essential. Why settle for anything less than amazing? That's where Trade Coffee comes in. It is the number one coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the country's top roasters. Whether you're a cold brew fan, it's starting to warm up out here in Wisconsin, or a pour-over purist, they've got the roast you'll love. If you take Trade's quiz, it only takes 1 minute. I highly recommend to take this quiz. I did it. You can do it. My bag is on its way. The first bag was sent by me, and it was spot on. I ordered another bag right after that. It's fresh. It smells amazing. And honestly, I don't go out to the grocery store and even look for coffee anymore because I found it, and it delivers right to my front door. Super easy. Right now, Trade is exclusively offering you guys 50% off your 1 month 1 month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's TRADE.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off of your first month in your trial. Again, that's drinktrade.com/lockedon. Program also tonight brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Unfortunately, the Bucks are not part of that, but every night delivers highlight-worthy performances. The Celtics being down 2-0, the Pacers being up 2-0. We'll see how long that lasts. Major momentum shifts and can't-miss moments, whether you're in a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and lives. With player prop bets, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Super easy, guys. You can go put a $200 bonus bet in, right? It's $5 if you put your first bet in. It's $5 and you can get $200 in bonus bets. If you're new to FanDuel, tonight is the perfect night to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And again, $5 bet can win you $200 in bonus bets. Not even win it. You'll get it. So $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Again, put $5 in, guys. You are going to win. You'll be given $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. The Brewers losing tonight to the Tampa Bay Rays. This one by a final of 4-3. Frustrating loss for the Milwaukee Brewers. And I told you we're going to get to the player of the game. Nick, over on the YouTube, I have no idea who your player of the game is, but it definitely wasn't on the crew tonight. Pat Murphy would be mine, fighting for his team. I like that. DMH over on YouTube, as I've said before, this is going to be a long season. Wouldn't be surprised if they finish 500 at 81-81, and that is the route that they are currently on right now. You're absolutely right. But without further ado, let's get into my player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I told you guys it wasn't a Milwaukee Brewer and it wasn't a Tampa Bay Ray. So you're probably wondering, well, who could it be or who was it? Third base umpire James Hoy, who again, I think changed the trajectory of this game one way or another. The Brewers may have won. I don't know. If they keep that lead, that 3-2 lead, maybe they keep it. I don't know in that seventh inning. But when you're at that position as an umpire in a game, and again, I don't want this to be a blame the referees, blame the umpires. It's, take accountability. Look, there's a lot that we can talk about with this Milwaukee Brewers team that's trending in the wrong direction. I just don't think you can make that call in that moment. And not only that, but the rule is so cloudy that I just don't understand how at times the inconsistency of that has dictated games. And we've seen it a few times for the Milwaukee Brewers on it's been more of the backward trend, throughout the course of the early parts of the season. I just don't get it. It's a frustrating way. We're looking back at that moment. We've mentioned it as the turning point, and rightfully so. The Brewers were winning. The Rays would eventually tie it, eventually take the lead, eventually win the game. To me, that right there was was just obviously the turning point, but it was also, in my opinion, the wrong call, right? And I just think when you're in a game where the score is tight, it's more of a pitcher's duel, offenses aren't doing a ton, giving a team a run off of and the angle he had, I don't even think was really that great. I'm talking about the umpire there at third base. I don't even think the angle he had was definitive on where he was. And again, he just can't make that call, I don't think, in that moment in that game and let the players dictate the outcome more than a call on the field, a judgment call at that. It wasn't reviewable. Pat Murphy got the boot for arguing, and rightfully so. He was heated. Probably had a lot of reasons to be angry, with this Milwaukee Brewers team as of late, even though they had won 3 straight. But again, it's a frustrating way to lose. Now they've lost consecutive games. They lost game 3 against the Astros 9-1, and they lose tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays by a final of 4-1. Lots to get to, lots of reactions still pouring in on the YouTube. We'll get to all of that, but the things you're going to be talking about tomorrow.
This is what you'll be talking about.
A few of you have mentioned the Brewers 500. They're consistently inconsistent. We have all talked about it. We had mentioned how bad the Rays have played baseball over their last 9 games, lost 7 of their last 9, including their last 3 games. The Brewers are 19-20, and we're getting to the point of the season where if you didn't have a red flag, you probably should be getting ready to wave one, because I don't know exactly what this team does great. I don't really know what they do good. Last year they won games by their pitching. They won games by timely hitting. They won games by their defense. They won games by stealing bases, applying pressure on opposing pitchers and other defenses. That hasn't happened yet this year for the Milwaukee Brewers. They haven't done it consistently. In fact, they've done it worse, and it feels like it's getting worse as the days go on. And at some point, you just kind of are what your record says you are. And right now, that would indicate that the Brewers, almost 40 games into the season, are an under 500 baseball team. They're below average. Outside of Nick Mears, the bullpen's been up and down, right? Making a lot of mistakes that they just simply didn't make a year ago or at any point last year. Remember, this team didn't lose more than 3 games in a row last year. They've done it multiple times now this season. It's May. It's early May. We mentioned the offense. It was frustrating last year for a handful of parts. Over the last week, they've averaged 2 runs per game. And you mix that in with not so good pitching, not so good bullpen appearances, shaky defense. It's a recipe for a disaster, and that's exactly what we're seeing from the Milwaukee Brewers. Mr. Ben over on YouTube. This one stings. Yeah, it's frustrating because when you lose game 3 against the Astros on Wednesday, you had a day off on Thursday. The Rays bullpen was exhausted coming into this game. I mean, they had, again, played 3 games against Philly, had lost all 3 of those. You had an opportunity, I don't want to say to steal one, but you had an opportunity with your best pitcher at the beginning of the year and gave him an early lead to kind of hold on to this one. And the Brewers fall to the Tampa Bay Rays by a final score of 4-3. We mentioned the wonderful sponsors of the program here on the Locked On Brewers postcast. And before we go, we have one more that we got to give our thanks to. Fire TV, which is also known as an Xbox. I had no idea this was an actual thing. You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you are ready to go. Dive into hundreds of premium titles, including EA Sports College Football 25, to include also Call of Duty. As easily as you stream your favorite shows, you can now play your favorite games. And here's the other cool part about it. Not only does it turn into a console, but it also turns into, how many apps are you guys actually running on these TVs? I know for us, I mentioned this before on the program, we got 5 kids. So we got Netflix and Peacock TV and Hulu and YouTube TV, all of these things. And you're switching so many apps. You can do everything on one app, right? You plug in the Fire TV and you are good to go. A 4K streaming stick, and it is all ready for you. Super easy. Head to Amazon.com, Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, and Fire TV Cube. Again, head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. The Brewers losing tonight to the Tampa Bay Rays. They fall one game under 500. This one by a final score of 4-3. Programming note for all of you everydayers. Unfortunately, for the next 2 days, no postcast. My daughter turns 13 years old tomorrow, so we will be out celebrating her 13th birthday. And of course, Mother's Day is on Sunday. No matter what happens to the Milwaukee Brewers, make sure you go and give mom a hug, go get her some flowers, take her out to brunch, take her out to dinner, whatever it is and however it is you guys celebrate. Make sure you honor your moms. Happy early Mother's Day to all of the mothers that listen to the program. My thanks to each and every one of you for always tuning in to the Locked On Brewers Postcast edition here on the Locked On Brewers YouTube. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first and now last listen each and every day. My name has been Brandon Snide. It's been a pleasure and an honor talking Brewers baseball with you tonight, even in a 4-3 frustrating loss as the Brewers fall one game under 500. Have a great weekend, everyone. And no matter what, as always, win, lose, or draw, it's always go Brewers.